Hello everyone, take a look at what I have for you today. This is the Boker Plus Lancer, and this is the first production run of 500 knives. And so this one was available at gpknives.com, so I picked this one up. I saw them posted on Facebook, I believe, so I followed that link and decided to make a purchase. And main reason being, since it was the first production run of this knife, it's a little bit more exclusive than what will be regular production. But just let me give you a closer look at the knife itself. So this right here is a Serge Panchenko design. Has a nice wide spear point blade. It is a titanium liner lock. Very good action to it. And it does run on Teflon washers, which you can see in there. There you go. And so this knife came in at the rather attractive price point of $69.95. And I say that's an attractive price point because this first production run actually came with an upgraded steel choice. And so this stonewash blade right here is actually S35VN. And so the regular production run, I assume, will be a 440C. And so I'll look up the specs for that in just a minute and we'll find that out for sure. But I'm pretty sure that is the only difference between this first production run and the eventual production models that will come out later, is that this one has an S35VN blade. And now that being said, the knife is made in China. Has green G10 handles. And you can see there is a pocket clip on the side. It is a one position only pocket clip, so it's designed for right hand carry, tip up. And if you take a close look on the blade right there, you're going to see the logo for the designer, Serge. Looks really nice on this dark stonewash. On this side you'll see the blade marking, S35VN. And on the front side you will see the production run. And it's very hard to read, but this one is number 99 out of 500. And of course the Boker Plus logo. So I'm surprised at how good the action is, given that it runs on Teflon washers. And maybe it's a designer's choice, because I know a lot of higher end knives will use at least the phosphor bronze washers nowadays. And Teflon washers are usually what you see on low end knives. But this one right here was designed to be a higher end model. And I think it might have been a design choice because when you read the description of this knife, they even say, let me read it off the screen here. This first run is simply a joy to operate as the action is silky smooth riding on Teflon washers. And so it advertises the Teflon washers as a feature, which makes me think it was definitely part of the design of this knife to run on Teflon washers. So long-term use will tell whether that was a wise choice or not. But just like some of other Serge Panchenko's knives, you'll see the front flipper. And this works well enough, I guess, in place of the thumb hole, which I still think the thumb hole is much easier to use. But for some who want to operate it that way, I suppose that's an option as well. And it does have this large cutout so that you can get into the lock, and so there isn't too much of an issue with that. So take a look at the lockup. So lockup is good. Let's take a look at centering. Centering is perfect. And so this knife is now sold out on gpknives.com, so I assume a regular production will occur of this knife. So I was doing some searching, and it looks like Knife Center has them on pre-order. And so for the same exact price, the only difference in specs I could find was that it was 440 stainless steel blade instead of the S35VN. So I guess there's always a chance the price could be lower than that when it actually arrives. But it's kind of nice that if you were one of the first to get on board with this early model, that you got the upgraded steel choice, which is kind of nice. And that being said, of course, this was made in China, like I mentioned earlier. And if anyone is familiar with some controversy that went on, when CRKT, of course a different company, but when CRKT contracted their Hootenanny knife to have a production run like this, it was a sprint run essentially, they had it made in S30V. in China. And it was later discovered that that blade steel was not actually S30V. It was actually some kind of carbon steel. And so it's one of those issues when you source these things out to China, you're never sure who's actually running the factory and how honest they are. So that being said, I'm sure it is S35VN steel, but it's one of those things when you claim an American steel from a Chinese company, there's always going to be some doubt. And so this one has this nice dark stonewash finish on it, whereas those hootenannies that came out were a satin finish. So it was really easy to notice that, hey, this obviously is not a stainless steel because it was staining. So I hope that's not the case with this knife here. I would hope most of these companies have their quality control on the up and up. And now in the specs, the blade length is 3 inches, overall length 7 inches, and of course the weight. Now they mentioned on the website it's 2.4 ounces. Let's see if that matches what I got on the scale here. 2.48, so a little bit heavier than what the advertised specs are. That is okay though, because we have titanium liners, titanium pocket clip, green OD green G10, and an S35VN blade. Boker Plus, very nice work on this one. I really can't find any faults with it. You would think reading the specs with a 3-inch blade, 7-inch overall length, that it would be small, but it feels like a full-size knife in hand. I think that's due to the width of the knife. I mean, it's a very wide angle, wide profile handle. And again, as long as your right hand tip up is your preference, I think this is your knife. So again, these will be coming out full production in 440C. Hopefully the price will go down a bit, because otherwise those who didn't get in on this early run, kind of got a little cheated there. But again, this was to drum up interest in the knife, I'm sure, to drum up interest in the brand. And as long as these companies keep pairing up with these very well-known makers who are up and coming, I think they'll do just fine. Because that is what knife buyers want. They want the newest, the best, and the unique. And so these production runs, I'm a sucker for them. I bought it. And not surprisingly, right after I placed this order, the next day they were sold out. So good job marketing there, GP Knives. Worked for me, and I'm sure it'll work for everyone else who wants to pick up this knife. Again, if you have any questions about this knife, feel free to ask a question, leave a comment. Thank you for watching. Apologize for my voice. I'm a bit under the weather right now, so I sound kind of like a scratchy frog. But again, thanks for watching my channel. Feel free to subscribe. Have a great day, all.